Hello, good evening. This is Michael talking to you about the beautiful game of football. So today I want to talk about something that is trending online, where a player among the Zambia national team showed up in Saudi Arabia, where the team had camped for pre-tournament training. Okay, so the player showed up to take photos with the legend Emmanuel Eto'o. So this player, his jersey looks to be wet because he has been running, okay, as in training. Now he sweated and his jersey is seemingly looking wet, okay. Now remember, hear me correctly, okay. What caused the jersey to be wet may not necessarily be the sweat. It could be maybe the player had sprinkled water on himself. Okay, now in this context, we'll take it that the player sweated. If the player had indeed sweated and it showed on camera that this player's jersey is stick to his body because he sweated, then that's a call for concern. Okay, I know we are using a local brand. In Bemba we say made by Fueven. Okay, so this local brand goes by the name of Kopa. Okay, so if that's true, then it's a call for concern. But again, before I talk about this, I would love to give you a clear picture of what we're talking about. If you look at the replica that most of you are putting on for clubs, okay, for clubs, especially European clubs, these replicas are not original, they are imitation. The original costs about 100 to 105 pounds. Now that is a lot of money if you bring it in our local currency. It's about 3,000 kwacha, 2,500 to 3,000 kwacha. Now tell me, if you are a business person, how many people would manage to buy a jersey at 3,000 kwacha in Zambia? Very few, very few. Okay, it may not make business sense to you as a business person. So what these clubs have done is that they recognize that there are other areas in the world, especially third world countries, where they may not afford £100 to buy a jersey. So what did they do? They made imitations called replica. Replica means there is an original and then there is an imitation. So what you have is an imitation, and what the players are using is original. Original in the sense that the technology used to manufacture these two are different. The players may sweat on the pitch and it may not show to you that the player is sweating, or the sweat may not necessarily manage to show outside. The jersey may not stick to the player's body. There's technology that goes into manufacturing of these. Now, the replica, the imitation that you are putting on, that you always buy, okay, that you always buy, usually at $10 or $15 or less, is not the original. Okay, because one, you don't need to run as a fan, you just be there seated cheering your team or just putting on, especially during the weekends, people do that. Okay, so you may not necessarily appreciate this fact. So that's the point I wanted you to understand when it comes to business point. So the point is, if indeed the replica, the jersey that the guys are using at national team is not necessarily one, it doesn't meet the standard as those jerseys used by clubs and other national teams that are dressed by known brands. What should have been done is that they would have made a limited number for players, okay, meeting those standards, so that the players, when they play, they are not able to sweat, it's able to protect them and everything, okay. And now for everyone else, the fans, they would have made the ones they've made, which they're selling at 600 kwacha or 700 kwacha, because that's affordable to most of the fans. And that makes business sense, because for them to sell at that price, they've computed all the costs, landing cost, everything, taxes, and all those things are in there. And they've seen that if they sell at 700 kwacha or 600 kwacha, they may be able to meet costs and make a profit, because That's the whole essence of business, is to make profit at the end of it all. Okay? So there wouldn't have been complaints. Okay. Remember, I did mention that what caused the player's jersey to look wet may not necessarily be sweat, but it could have been that maybe he sprinkled water on himself or not. That we don't know. Or it could have been sweat indeed. So this advice is not ill intended to blame anyone or to talk ill about the national team. Okay, so these are facts that should be known. There is no problem in maybe having 300 originals to dress the national team up to the time the competition will come to an end, and let everyone else buy the replica. Replica means imitation. There is an original, and then there is a replica that everyone is using. Okay, so this is the difference. Okay, even those that own these companies that manufacture these jerseys, replicas, they understand that, and that's why the pricing is different. The way you buy the replica in Africa, the price is not the same as in European countries. Okay, so it's a call for concern, and we look forward that if what we're thinking is true, then it's not too late that a correction can be made. Or if at all it was just water, then well and good, we're good to go. Because remember, this brand, the local brand, may not just necessarily be for Zambia. There are other countries that may come on board and say, we don't have a company that should dress us. We want to use your brand, the Kopa brand. And that's good business. That's good business. Now, if they see that there are these complaints that this is not, doesn't mean the standard and what, then you lose out on business. Okay, because I hear the whole point of coming up with that brand is to make money so that it can help in the running of the FA, in addition to the grants that comes from the central government. Okay, so in terms of business, we should be looking at that. Okay. If other countries comes on board to use the same brand and manufacture for them, that's good business. We shouldn't just limit ourselves to Zambia. We should look beyond borders, because that's the route they've chosen, that they are going to commercialize that brand and help rake in those revenues, monies that are needed so much. So the team traveled from Saudi Arabia. They are now in Ivory Coast, where they've set up camp. When the two friendlies were being announced, I did mention here that looking at time and logistics involved, there could not be two friendly games for Zambia. Maybe the one that has been announced, Cameroon, is the one that we should go with. And true to my word, it came to pass that there's only one friendly that was played. So from these friendlies in our group, we can see that Zambia managed to get a draw against Cameroon, and Tanzania lost to Egypt 2-0. Also, DRC also lost 1-0. Only Morocco managed to get a win against Cameroon. Sorry, only Morocco managed to get a win against Sierra Leone. Okay, so this is what happened in our group. So from the three teams that we appeared with, it's only Morocco that managed to get a win. Zambia and DRC managed to get draws, and then Tanzania lost to Egypt. Okay, the good part is that we're still scoring. Okay, let's continue working hard, boys, so that we can bring the trophy that we need so much. The coach still stands that we are not the best. There are other more than 10 best teams at Afcon, but I know he's trying to be technical. Yes, when you look at our defense, the goalkeeping department, there's still some room to improve, and we just wish you the best as you make those improvements so that you can bring the trophy back home. Wishing you the very best. Okay, and I know that the critical games will be the initial one against DRC. So wishing you the best in that game. You get a win, we go to the next until we reach the final.